everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Claire Point podcast with me, Randy Prizzle. How you guys all doing out there? Everything good, shway, crispy, airy? Let's get on to the episode of today straight away. Let's get into it. A lot of madness has happened this week, but let's go and let's get on to the episode of the podcast, episode 37. We'll come on to the advice, so let's get straight into that. Here's one we've got right here. 35-year-old female virgin who still lives with her parents. Now this one should be a good one. What's my advice going to be? Let's find out. Here's my confession. I'm 290 pound, 35-year-old female virgin. Recently I've gained so much weight that I have to buy a tool to be able to wipe my own ass. Whoa. That's crazy. I live with my dad. He pays rent and buys groceries. I barely make enough to cover living expenses and bills from extensive credit card debt. I hardly ever leave the house. I have a porn addiction and obviously a food addiction. That's quite a bad combination because the two of them together don't really mesh well, do they? Wow. I don't talk to my friends. It all sounds pretty bad when I say it's like that. I'll provide a little context. I worked for about 10 years as a helper in a special education's classroom. Then I got my math education teaching certificate. I applied to about 50 schools but was rejected from all of them. So I became a substitute. That's pretty much tanked my self-esteem. In the midst of it all, my mum passed away in 2002. I'm sorry to hear that. Which was extremely difficult for me because she was always my number one cheerleader and constantly encouraging me to believe in myself. Oh, here's where it gets deep. I was sexually harassed twice, once in 2023 and once in 2024. I experienced a nervous breakdown each time, and I was unable to work for a few months following due to the daily panic attacks. I also became afraid of leaving the house. After the second one, I almost unalived myself, so I began a 3-month outpatient program. Whoa. Needless to say, I burned through my savings and whacked up credit card debt. Thankfully, my dad has really been there to help me financially. I was constantly anxious, so sometimes the porn was the only thing that provided relief. Don't know why I'm laughing. There's been times where it's happened for myself as well. Hey. However, brief it was. With the depression and anxiety, caring for my relationships, family and friends, not to mention searching for a significant other, has been difficult to impossible. So there's my confession. Let me know what you think. Well, that's a lot to unpackage. I would say, first off, it's a credit to you to express all of this. I know some people probably would be laughing their heads off. At first, I kind of was, with the whole idea of the things where you're going into and talking about porn and all of that. And you're still a virgin and everything. There's nothing wrong with being a virgin 35. Trust me, there's nothing wrong with that. I think obviously it's good to wait when you find the right person. But obviously your situation's a bit different. You've obviously had some trials and tribulations that have gone on obviously in your life so far, which has kind of left you in a place where you have low self-esteem and you can't seem to find the motivation to pull yourself out of this hole that you're in. I would definitely say to speak to a therapist. I think that's something that should be first and foremost, is to speak to a therapist. One of them online ones, because obviously you don't want to go out, right? So speak to an online therapist, talk to that person, get all your troubles and air them all out, because you've already aired it out here and I've read it out aloud to the public right here. So your best bet is probably to do that. Go and speak to a therapist and then try to see where you can go from there. I think the therapist will obviously guide you a lot more down the line and help you in these situations, because you're still young, 35 years old. I would say obviously the case of anything, if you ain't looking to, let's say, leave or ditch a therapist, probably just to start eating a bit healthier. It could help as well, you know what I mean? start with a plan potentially and just work your way through that plan, what you're probably going to do on a day-to-day basis, and just keep trying, just keep pushing. Sometimes you're going to keep getting knocked down, but you just got to keep getting up again, and that's just what it is. That's my simple advice to her. But definitely speak to a therapist, All right, well, that's stuff for that advice. I was expecting to obviously come and heard the whole porn thing, and I was like, yeah, I might have to tell her to maybe slow down on that. Do you know what I mean? Because too much of that can get you into a hole where you're just looking for relationships in a base substance form, where you just want to just mash and dash. Do you know what I mean? You're just in and out. You know what I mean? Like 7-Eleven or whatever. But anyways, that's a shop in the US, by the way, for some people in the UK who don't know. But anyways, let's move on to the next one. Okay. Internet's moving mad right now. Okay. All right. This one. I cowardly left my girlfriend when she was attacked. Said, I, 27 years old, male, left my girlfriend, 9-year-old female, of 4 years since she was attacked, and that has a very negatively affect our relationship. 2.5 years ago, she was assaulted brutally by an ex-friend of hers when she was nearly blacked out. Due to witness and a hospital exam, he was unable to put away for over a decade. To be put away. It's bad grammar, but still, we just keep going on. Healing was very slow. She couldn't work for a while afterwards, so I covered the bills. I helped her pay for therapy, and she's doing better than she was in the first week after the incident. She's back to work, and I'd say our relationship was strong, except for one thing. We didn't have intimacy. She was very traumatized, and it took a long time for sex to ever be on the table. A year after the incident, she became hypersexual with me because she feared I was becoming distant. But after couples therapy, it became clear it's not something she finds very enjoyable at all anymore, so we just don't. She was the most beautiful woman and loved her, and I loved her. And I went to bed next to her knowing that for years, still we probably wouldn't be intimate. I hurt for her. I had a co-worker hit on me. It was flattering and let me know I was still desired, except by the person I'm committed to. I made a plan to leave. I saved up and I made arrangements. 3 months prior to our lease ending, while she was at work, cowardly, I left 3 months rent and I let a letter. I basically explained that I was a coward who couldn't fight this battle with her anymore and I need to move on for my own sake and happiness. I wished her the best, but I let her know that in my heart, couldn't handle contacting with her. And I left out of the country to South America. It has been months now and I feel like I'm moving on. I feel so bad, but the misery of that department I left behind is unrecognizable here. Mutual friends and even her have tried to contact me, but the message is the same. I'm fine in Brazil, don't know when if I'll be back, and block. My family knows where I am and are generally supportive. I took the coward's way out. I don't feel like you're a coward. I feel like you did what you felt was best in that point in time. I think probably she's looking for an explanation in full, which probably you should have probably had a phone call with her, potentially spoken to her and explained it more in bigger detail. But sometimes these things are very hard to express. So I would say you were on the right track. I would say don't beat yourself up over it. But it's a situation that's a very tough one to be in because obviously she's traumatized and you've tried to kind of make it work and it hasn't worked. So you just had to leave and that's just what it is, unfortunately. So it's best for the relationship's sake and it's best for your sake and her sake to move on because obviously she didn't want to give you what you required in terms of obviously where you had to be delicate with a lot of things and you couldn't find a way to move forward with all of that was going on. So you did the right thing, but I just think there was a better way you could handle it in terms of obviously having that conversation with her. But that's my advice, as simple as. So I would say don't feel bad for it, but just in future, just make sure you speak to that person in person. All right, well, that's my advice. Cool. Well, obviously, we're going to move forward now. But what do you guys think of the advice? You can put your comments below on that one. Keep it to yourself. Now, obviously, we're going to move on to another piece of scandal that went on, which obviously people didn't know, the Coldplay concert. So it's everywhere. The memes are flying around. The hug and then the duck down, all of that. You know what I mean? So the CEO, Andy Byron, was caught cheating at the Coldplay concert, and then he tried to blame Coldplay for it, which is crazy. How can you blame Coldplay when you were the one who took the woman to that concert? You know what I mean? You were in the wrong, not Coldplay. You're blaming Coldplay like you're never going to be a fan of theirs again. You don't want to hear their music. You know what I mean? You used to rule the world and that. Now you don't rule the world. Do you know what I mean? Your relationship's over. Because the fact of the matter is, you were the one who got caught with your pants down. Do you know what I mean? It feels like you generally did get caught with your pants down because you got caught at a Coldplay concert with your arm around one of your workers, which is mad. But at the end of the day, you have to blame yourself for this. You can't blame Coldplay. You can't blame them. It's you have to blame. You have to take the accountability and say, this is my fault. This is why my relationship is over. So for you to blame Coldplay is a mad one. I don't get it. But this is what it is, a lack of accountability. But hey, it is what it is. Do you know what I mean? It's making a great meme all over the internet now. Everybody's using it as a meme. This one's a meme, that's a meme. As soon as something happens, they're all ducking down and they're moving out the way. So you've made something popular now. Congratulations to you. You wanted to get famous somehow. You somehow have managed to do it. So hey, it is what it is. Just obviously you have to apologize to your wife and your kids because you've messed about, man. You fucked about and you got caught. So that's just what it is. You know, just own up to it and move on. All right, cool. We're going to move on from that to now speak on Love Island. Now, I know a lot of people don't watch Love Island. Following this, and if you don't, you can skip for all of that. But this season 12 has been absolutely crazy. It's been crazy from the minute go. Do you know what I mean? A lot of madness has happened in this season, which I say has made this season one of the best seasons in a long time. So I know a lot of people would say, oh yeah, it's just people going on the island and finding love and all that, the coupling and all this thing. But there's a lot more to it. It's the aspect of reality TV where these people get chucked on the island. They have to find a connection. There's no phones they can get to message people with. There's no way of doing that. They just have to vibe and see if they have a connection with people. And then each time there's probably a bombshell or someone that comes in that may tickle that person's fancy. And that person's like, ooh, I don't know about that one now. I want to move on to that one. Do you know what I mean? So it's the case of everything and see how people can move in this basically a social aspect. So I like the show. As I said, I've been watching the show for quite a while. So when it does come on, I watch it because you know what? It's still entertaining to me. I still like watching reality TV, and that's just it with me. I've always been a reality TV guy since the days of Big Brother, when I first started watching Big Brother. And Big Brother was a crazy program. You know what I mean? It doesn't really seem to be happening anymore. Well, I think it should be coming back close to winter or something like that. But anyways, do you know what I mean? Last season wasn't so great, the celebrity one. I watched a bit of it and I switched off. But this Love Island has really peaked and it's stayed continuously. Just being absolute madness after madness after madness, you know. Man them dogging out girls, you know what I mean? Girl them dogging out man, girl them dogging out other girl them, do you know what I mean? It's just been intense and crazy. So, you know what I mean? I look at it and I say, the people right there, I do want to win this show. Probably didn't start off as people I wanted to win this show. Do you know what I mean? And people say, oh, don't tell me you're going to talk about Meg and Dijon. No. Those are not the two I want to win the show. Do you know what I mean? They may have been coupled up from the start, but these two right now, they're chaotic as a couple. Dijon doesn't take accountability for some of the shit he does. I can't roll with Dijon. Do you know what I mean? And nah, that's not my guy right there, to be honest. I was very skeptical of Yasmin, to be honest, but Yasmin, she's doing things right now, which makes me question, you know what? She seems like a nice girl. She talked about sex a lot, but do you know what I mean? She's calmed down and she seems like she has another layer to her, which obviously when I looked at her and I saw her, I thought, this girl just, she just seems like a sex demon or some sex robot or something. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's what she generally was talking about most of the time. But she seems like someone who's emerged potentially as a winner for me. You know what I mean? I do like Tony. I think Tony says she stands on business, but the way she was moving with Harrison was a bit mad. I can't lie. Do you know what I mean? She said she stood on business, but when she came to Harrison, she couldn't stand on business. You know, she was rolling back to man, in and out, in and out, in and out. And then he got into bed with Lauren 2 times, was bashing Lauren, and then went back to her. It was madness, chaotic scenes. But you know what? Harrison's a young man. You know what I mean? I think Harrison knew how to play the game and was trying to play the game. Do you know what I mean? Trying to do the Triple H stuff, water and everything. You know what I mean? He was trying to do all of that. So I don't think people should really be coming at Harrison, because Harrison's a young man. I get, listen, he effed up. We all know Harrison fucked up. He did. But I don't think the case of people should be bashing on man because of social media and all this, because people would start to rip people apart just for like the little mistakes they've done in a reality TV show. And obviously the CEO, got caught cheating a Coldplay concert. That's a different story. Do you know what I mean? That's real life. Do you know what I mean? That's not like a reality TV thing where someone's generally there and they haven't been coupled up with someone. So that's a different story. But this is just a reality TV thing. And I don't think people should be taking it to the point where they're sending death threats or sending things like that to people just because of how they've been, let's say, performing or reacting to or doing things on an island. Obviously call it out, say what you got to say about it, but let's not go deep and start targeting the people's families or targeting, that's just mad. Do you know what I mean? It's not the right moves to be doing, to be honest. So cuss them out, call them a dickhead, idiot, pussy or whatever, but let's just not target the families and start doing all of that. Do you know what I mean? Start saying death threats to people. That's just mad. But this season has been chaotic. It's been crazy. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Do you know what I mean? I've enjoyed this season. I'm not going to lie to you. I think it's up there, one of the best seasons so far in a while. Probably the best season since the Mora season. People used to watch and learn about the Mora season, the Anna season, all of that. I think Amber was in that season as well. There was a lot of people in there. Ovi, India, not India, the black India, the you know. And yeah, so I generally think it's up there with one of the best Love Island seasons for me since that season. So that's just my little thoughts recap on Love Island, and that's it. We move on. What are your thoughts on Love Island season 12? Have you seen it? Do you care about it? If you don't, then you don't need to put your comments below or keep them to yourself. Or you can generally just don't have to keep them because you don't know about the show. But if you do, you can put your comments below or you can keep them to yourself. All right, with that, we're just going to move forward now to talk Arsenal and Arsenal ladies. So Arsenal ladies obviously have signed 2 transfers. Taylor Hinds has been signed and Olivia Smith, both from Liverpool. Do you know what I mean? Olivia Smith becomes the most expensive transfer in British history for £1 million she's been signed for, which is big in the women's game because that's unheard of. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, I think the second one was a player from Chelsea, I believe, but she was 800k or something close to that. So she's surpassed the record and she's 20 years old. I haven't really watched much of her, but I've seen some clips of Olivia Smith. It's great for her that we've signed someone with some upcoming talent. She looks like a really talented player as well. Young, mobile, quick as well. So yeah, there's exciting prospects there. And Taylor Hinds, obviously one of our own, has come back into the Arsenal squad again. Was Liverpool's captain for about 2-something years, I believe. She's been at Liverpool for years, and she's come back to Arsenal now, age 24, and has got again some shelf life to come in and challenge in that defensive area. So good signings overall, and it shows a statement of intent from Arsenal. Do you know what I mean? To really have those players signed and ready to go. Do you know what I mean? Because they're ready to go right now. Give us the green light. So yeah, great for Arsenal women. Fantastic. Obviously now we're going to move forward now to talk the Euros. So the women's Euros, obviously the other day Germany did face off against France and knocked France out. Obviously took them to penalty shootouts, but during the game a player got sent off for Germany, 13th minute, which obviously looked a bit peak for Germany. It looked like that the French could be all over them flies on shit now. But they managed to hold the French off. Do you know what I mean? Some decisions didn't go against the French. It went more Germany's way. But it's one of those things where the consistent managing and the managerial side of it, in terms of holding back and defending, they were very strong in stopping France from, let's say, penetrating their back line. Even though France scored twice, but Germany did have their answer backs, and you know, they had a penalty as well, Germany, which, to be honest, they could have sealed the game, but so could have France. So France hit the bar as well. So it was a very, very entertaining game, to be honest, and a brilliant save from the keeper, Berger, as well. She pulled off a fantastic save that, you know, doesn't matter what game it is, women's, men's game, is probably one of the best saves I've seen in a competition, football. So congratulations to her for the save. Congratulations to Germany, who knocked France out on penalties, and they go through now to face Spain, which is not going to be an easy task. You know, Spain, they're the world champions. They obviously want to get into that Euro final and want to right or wrong, because obviously England beat them there last time. So it's definitely going to be a good showdown. But obviously England, in this Tuesday's game coming up, have their game that's coming up, and they're facing Italy. So that again is going to be another test for England, see if they can get through, you know, and go through to that final. But some mouthwatering ties. Let's see who's going to end up in those finals. For me, my prediction is England to go through to the final and Spain to go through to the final. I do think that Spain can end up winning it, because I think Spain would want to right or wrong there. So my money is still on Spain winning this competition. The more I see Spain, the more I see that this team are so determined to right that wrong. So, but yeah, that's just my thoughts on that. But what do you guys think? Are you watching the Euros? Do you care? Arsenal's women's transfers? Well, let's dab into Arsenal's men. You know what I mean? I don't really want to talk about it, to be honest. This Gyökeres thing is back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It's like getting slapped with a wet fish over and over again. You're pulling out the seat. It just keeps happening. Do you know what I mean? We just keep letting it happen. This deal has not gotten over the line yet, and it's starting to make me really have doubts of what's happening behind the scenes here at Arsenal. What is going on? Why has this guy not been signed yet? You know what I mean? Why are we taking so long haggling over millions as we usually do? We like to take our time, waste time talking about this. Now we're hearing that Jesus, we want to take Jesus' number and give it to him. And Jesus seems unwilling to do that. Just tell Jesus, listen, brother, this is for the greater good of Arsenal, you know. Put him to the side, yo. We give you a different number, yeah. It doesn't mean anything different. Of course, for me, it does. Jesus can leave, to be honest. But, you know, stop holding up the transfer, bruv. Do you know what I mean? Stop doing that. Because what you're doing right now is making it bad for us. You're making this whole thing delay. If this is down to Jesus, because I'm telling him right now, take a different number and just hold that. You know what I mean? Because we need this guy at this club. Hold that different number and let him come in and take that number. Go and hold it. Simple as that. But it's just a merry-go-round right now. On a carousel. Spinning round and round. Fairground settings. Do you know what I mean? Simply red and that. It's just crazy. I just want this thing to be over and this guy to finally be signed. But the moment I just keep seeing delays, makes me actually think this is not going to happen. We're not going to end up with someone from the championship, some striker from the championship, or some striker unknown from somewhere else. Another Yaya Sonoga or something. That's what could happen if we delay this any longer. But anyways, we'll talk about other transfer news. Marcus Rashford seems like he's going to Barcelona on loan. And obviously this seems like a good move for Marcus Rashford. It's a big move for Marcus Rashford. It's a chance for him to step up at another big club. Do you know what I mean? So it's a big opportunity for him to go to Barcelona and have a shot there at potentially winning something. Do you know what I mean? So Marcus Rashford can come back to Man United after the loan and be holding up a medal. Potentially a La Liga, potentially one of the cups, potentially a Champions League. We don't know. That could happen because Man United right now are not in the Champions League. They're not even in Europe, are they? So it's peaky for them, to be honest. But Marcus Rashford can end up with a trophy and they can't. Crazy scenes. But anyways, it's a good move for Marcus Rashford. I think it is. Ekitike to Liverpool, potentially for 79 million. Now, obviously, the price range is a bit mad still, but it's a statement of intent from Liverpool. Sign someone who's young, quite talented. I've seen clips of this guy. I haven't really watched the Bundesliga like that. So I know what this guy has got in terms of ability, technical prowess, and knowing how to score goals. You know what I mean? So he seems like someone right now who's got the capabilities of growing into a very, 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 very top-notch striker. You know what I mean? He's still young, so the price range is a bit mad, but it's someone for the future for Liverpool. And I do see that being a good signing for them. So it's a good statement of intent from Liverpool. And obviously, if they manage to move on Darwin Núñez, then this guy probably will just get the chance to start games. Obviously, they've got Cody Gakpo there as well, but it's a good statement of intent from Liverpool. I don't want to really see it, to be honest, because I don't want Liverpool to be retaining their title. But I'd rather them over Man City, over any of these other teams, over Chelsea. I'd rather them retain it. Do you know what I mean? My dad's a Liverpool supporter, so 100% I'd rather see that happen than Chelsea or flipping Man City or flipping even the likes of potentially Tottenham. They have no chance, but still, you never know. They have no chance, but yeah. But it's a stellar move from Liverpool to go to a young guy who really has the capabilities and the prowesses of being the next big thing in terms of obviously top-notch goal scorer. So that's a big statement of intent for Liverpool. Could be a good, smart piece of business there. 79 million could be just down the drain, literally. They sang with a Kai Havertz song, but I'm not singing that song. Do you know what I mean? I don't sing that song because it's not down the drain. It's still a waste of money at this point in time. But anyways, all right, cool. Well, that's it for the transfer news. What do you guys think? You know, your clubs out there, the business have they done? Are you happy with the business they've done? Chelsea fans, you know what I mean? Man United fans, business you haven't done. Whoa. Tottenham fans, there's talks of Gibbs White potentially not coming anymore. You know what I mean? Peak if he doesn't come. But anyways, what are you guys saying? Are you happy with your transfer signing so far, Man City? Put your comments below on that, or not, keep them to yourself. Real Madrid, Barcelona, Eintracht Frankfurt, Borussia Dortmund, Athletic Bilbao. I mean, all of them, do you know what I mean? And the above, Paris Saint-Germain. But yeah, we move on now to talk Usyk versus Dubois 2. Now, obviously, I was going to watch this fight the next day. Should be actually today or the day Sunday. No, it's probably going to be today, to be honest. But I've obviously seen the clips. He got knocked out in round 5. Dubois did. And it does obviously state Usyk as obviously the one of the best now. He's got to be labelled as the best now because he's beaten him twice. He's beaten Anthony Joshua twice. He's beaten Tyson Fury twice. So what's more there left to say? He simply is the best, right? Simply the best. The only better than all the rest. Seems so. Because who's going to beat him? That's the question now. Who's going to beat him? Now we see Jake Paul come in the ring and try to say, oh, I want to challenge you to a May fight. Bro, don't take that fight, man. But listen, if he's offering up the money, I can see it happening still. But I do think it could be something that could potentially ruin the reputation of Usyk. But if Usyk goes and knocks his blood clot off, then who cares? Do you know what I mean? You get paid there and you get the chance to F up, you know what I mean, Jake Paul. It's a win, isn't it? So if he has the confidence and he's actually going to go there and spark him out and actually just knock him out, then I'm all for it. Do you know what I mean? For me, I just don't want to see an upset. If they're going to go and do this, well, Jake Paul's going to take him and win. We can't have that. We cannot have that. That's just something I do not want to see. And that's that. But listen, big up to Usyk, you know what I mean? Undisputed champion of the world. The man shows he's why he's on top, and that's it. That's all I've got to say there. And that's it, guys, for this end of this podcast. So big up yourselves, first-time watchers, seasoned watchers. Appreciate you guys' time. And you know what we usually do when we finish. Peace, love, unity, have fun, and you're either all in or clear out.